Hello everybody, it's Mr. Q again. What's up? What's up? We're back again, and Patty is going to continue with part 2 about table etiquette. And of course, she's going to be interviewing and talking with my mom, Nancy. So, let's get into it and let's see what we learn today. Hopefully you'll learn at least 10 things about the dinnerware placement, what it's for, how to use it, when to use it.
Okay, Patty, we just reviewed a lot. So here we are at our first place sitting, and you're going to be sitting down where I'm sitting. What is the very first thing you're going to do?
Well, you said that the napkin was very important, and that should probably be the first thing I do, right? I put the napkin in my lap.
Correct. Very good, Patty. So I'm going to do just what you said and put it in my lap. And I'm going to set the ring aside because that's just there for decoration. Very good. Now, Patty, looking back at the place setting from everything we learned, what can you tell me do you think is going to be our first course based on the dishes that are in front of us right now?
All right, so let's take a look at what all these different things on the table mean and when we use them. Oh, there's so many things, Nancy. Oh, no, I'm so confused. I don't know when to use what or what I'm supposed to put in them. Please help me.
Patty, I'm happy to help you. There are many things to learn here, so let's get started right away. So let's look at this place setting. There's many things that are here. Of course, we have the napkin. That's a very important part. We also have all of these silverware that move in. You start out the outside and you move in towards in the center of the table. Dessert, as you can see, is at the top. And so you would go to the top not until after the meal. And then, of course, you have your different courses of the meal represented by each dish that is here. So we have our first course on top, our second course on the middle, and our third course on the bottom. Then we will have dessert coming in as a separate, and we will be using this silverware here after that dish is brought to us. Then we have our glassware. We have glassware here, which is also for water, and this one is for beverages of many different types. And then this one is, of course, your coffee or tea, if you prefer, at the end of the meal with your dessert. So this is all that we have here. Now, we also have a very important thing to know about this silverware. After you use this silverware, it's very important for you to see that there is going to be like a clock on the top of all these dishes. It's round, so that's an easy thing to remember. Because when you finish with one of your spoons or one of your dishes, you're going to be looking at, we have a 12 o'clock here, you want to look at the 11 o'clock hour. And that is where you're going to place the handle of your silverware that's going to tell the servers that you are finished with this portion of this meal. So the first course, you're going to put your silverware down with the handle pointing to the 11 o'clock time. And so it is a very formal way of helping people and communicating to each other. Now, the other thing that is very important is when they serve the beverages for you, they're going to pour your water. And then they're going to pour whatever the other beverage is. It could be a wine, or it could be a soda, it could be something else. It's a good way for you to indicate to the server when you don't want that other beverage by placing your hand on the top of that. When that happens, the server knows to remove that beverage because they don't want to ask you again if you want to have that beverage. So you will be then remaining with just your wine glass. So there are many things to learn about this. The other important thing is your napkin. It is very important to know that you will always have a napkin, and that is needs to be in this culture for removing that and placing it on your lap. And that's a very important part because many people don't know that the napkin in these formal settings is to be placed on your lap. So that's a lot of detail, Patty, for what the table setting, at least the story of what this table setting is telling you.
You know I'm a rat, right? Do I ever get to eat with my fingers?
Never. In a formal setting, you never do. As a matter of fact, you'll be using this a lot so that if you ever get anything on your hands, your napkin is going to be there to keep your fingers clean. That's what all these utensils are for, Patty, and that's why you're going to be eating with a utensil at every course of this meal and not using your fingers.
Oh, that makes so much more sense. Okay. Well, Nancy, as I look at the story of our dinner, I see a bowl in the top position. So I think that a course that would go in a bowl is probably some soup.
Very good, Patty. That's exactly correct. Your first setting is soup. Now, Patty, as we look down back at the silverware, you've got a lot to choose from here. What one do you think you're going to select from to eat your soup with?
Well, eating soup with a fork is very difficult. It's even harder with a knife, so probably the spoon.
That's correct, because we start from the outside, right? Doesn't this match the first setting? We're at the very first thing we lift up, and it's on the outside, and we will eat our soup with this spoon. That's correct. Now, Patty, I'm finished with my soup. Where am I going to put my spoon, to tell the waiter I'm finished?
Because if I put the spoon on the table, then the table will probably get dirty.
Yes, it
So
will.
I want to put it on the table. I put it in the bowl, and the handle points to the 11 o'clock.
Very good, Patty. That's right. You move it to the 11 o'clock. Now the waiter knows that you're telling him you're finished. And look, that bowl is going to go away. Excellent job. So, Patty, now that we finished our first course, now we have our second course, and we have a plate in front of us. What do you think might be our second course? Looking at the silverware and looking at what options we're going from the outside to the inside.
Well, I see a plate, and I see a fork, so maybe it's a salad?
Excellent, Patty, because look, this fork is different, right? It's smaller, and it's designed differently, and it's specifically designed for salads. So you're correct. You're going to select your salad fork, and you're going to eat your salad until it's all finished. And guess what? Where's that fork going to go to tell the waiter you're done?
11 o'clock position.
Excellent. Patty, you are learning this so well. Good job. And look, your dish is magically disappearing. Very good. Wow. Well, we're getting through our courses pretty darn well, don't you think? I think our next thing is really our course number 3 is the one that is the longest of the meal. So what do you think that might be when you look at this plate? What does this tell you?
It's a big plate, so there's probably going to be some sort of big thing that gets put on the plate. So maybe some sort of meat will be used. I think I see a knife there, so I might have to cut something, and usually you cut meat, right?
That's correct. And there might be other things on that plate too that you would eat with a fork as well. What do you think might be added to the meat?
There could be a sauce.
It could be. Or they might have some things like vegetables with that meat or potatoes with that meat. And you also need a fork to eat those with as well. And you are correct. If I have a piece of meat here, whether it be chicken or steak or fish, you may need to have a knife to cut that meat. But Patty, when you cut your meat and you get that sauce on it, are you going to put that knife back on the table?
No. Where do I put it?
It's going to get the tablecloth dirty. So what we're going to do is we're going to set it right here on the edge of the table and leave it there so that you can use it again while you're eating your meal. Now, if I need to cut more meat, my knife is going to be right there ready for me to use again, and I am not going to get the tablecloth dirty by setting it down on the table. So I will continue eating my meal that way. And then I was so delicious, I finished it. So guess where they're going to go?
The 11 o'clock position.
Yay! Yes, but this time we do 2 of our dishes, our silverware together, so because our whole entree is now finished.
Oh, okay.
And I have been drinking my water out of my water glass as well. And Patty, one of the things that we were supposed to ask you is, what kind of beverage do you like to have?
Well, I like soda and water.
Excellent. So you would have soda filled in this little glass. Is that correct?
Yes.
Good girl. And with the water would be in the big glass, which it always will be. But Patty, what if you didn't want to have that soda and you only wanted to have water? How would you...
Put my paw over the glass.
Excellent. So that way they know to take it away. You learned well in our lessons. Excellent job. So Patty, our waitstaff is going to be bringing our 4th course because we have some other silverware up here. It tells us we have still more to come. So I know, what do you think they might serve us as our 4th course?
Well, I see a fork and a spoon, so maybe ice cream or cake or something?
Excellent, that's right. Well, in this particular course, we're going to have a pie, and that spoon is going to help us if we have with the ice cream. And Patty, this spoon can be also used with our coffee, because some people with their coffee and their tea, what do they like to put in it?
Sugar.
Sugar and cream too. So they're going to have a means to stir that and have that available for that purpose. And
Oh, so whenever you don't use a utensil, you put it on the edge of your plate, either your big plate or your coffee cup plate.
That's it.
I see.
That's exactly right. And also, when we eat our pie and we finish everything that is there, I know you're going to get this one because you are one smart cookie. What do we do when we finish our pie?
Put the fork in the 6 o'clock position.
Oh, you're teasing now, Patty.
11 o'clock.
Good.
I know.
You know, absolutely. And that's going to be the end of this delicious meal. And so can you understand now, Patty, why there's so much time for conversation and really having a good understanding of how to use your utensils correctly and what's the next course type of meal that you're going to be having for each one of those dishes? Does that make sense now?
Wow, it was so confusing at first, but now good.
Well, excellent. I have had so much time spending time with you, reviewing what it's like and all the etiquette around the formal dinner table and the formal setting.
All right, thank you, Nancy, for sharing your day with us. I know you're a busy lady and have all kinds of things to do, so it really means a lot that you're able to spend some time with me and with our class.
Well, it was my pleasure, and you certainly have been a wonderful partner to help us tell that story for everyone else. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I hope you guys have enjoyed learning about table etiquette, and in today's second part of the video where you guys learned about placement and use of formal dinnerware. Oh yeah, there's so much to think about. It looks very confusing just to see everything on the table, but if you just think about it calmly, you can figure it out. I know, it's actually pretty easy when you have a formal table setting, all you have to do is start with the top dish, because whatever's on the top of the pile of dishes, that's what you're going to be eating next. And then you just start from the outside in with the silverware, which means if you're having soup, start with the outside spoon first, and then move in using forks and knives and whatever. Now, you won't have a plate for your dessert. Whoever is serving your dinner will bring out a separate plate with your dessert on it. And what is probably the most important thing to do as soon as you sit down, Patty? You should put your napkin in your lap. Yeah, in Western culture especially, we use our napkins in our lap to protect ourselves from any food that drops. Plus, we can wipe our hands on it out of the view of everyone else at the table. And if you're at a restaurant, sometimes the waiter will put the napkin into your lap for you. Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. That way I don't have to put it in my own lap. Yeah, that's right. So it's very important that you guys remember that you put the napkin in your lap so that you can stay clean. And you should also remember that at a formal dinner, you don't eat with your fingers. Don't eat with your fingers. Always use your silverware. Yeah, you don't want to look like an animal like me. You want to be a civilized person when you eat. That's right, Patty. That's right. You don't want to be an animal when you eat. So, remember though, if you're at a dinner table and there's multiple cups and you don't want anything but water, remember the water goes in the big cup and the other refreshments go in the other cups. The smaller cup, you can have soda or juice, or if you're older, maybe some wine. And then, of course, you have your coffee cup. I think that's obvious. You can put coffee or tea in that one. But if you don't want one of those, just put your hand over it, and the server will take it away from you, and then you don't have to worry about that cup anymore. So, Patty, what should you do if you're done eating a certain course? You should put your utensils at the 11 o'clock position. That's right, Patty. That's right. Remember, your plate looks like a clock, right? And then 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And then the server will know that you're done and should take it away. Just remember to not accidentally put it in the 11 o'clock position if you're not finished. Because even if you have your whole steak there and you put it at the 11 o'clock position, they're going to try to take it away. Don't try to take away my full steak, fool! I know, Patty, I know. That's why it's important to remember to always do it when you're finished, right? Yeah, it's a good idea. So, we talked about the different courses in this meal. You have typically a formal meal will have anywhere between 3 to 5 courses, right? You might have your soup, you might have a salad, you'll have a main course, you might have a bread, and you might have a dessert. So there's some of the courses that you might have during the course of your meal. Yeah, and I always enjoy having a nice conversation during my meals. And you should, and that's the point of having a formal meal, so that you can take the time out of your busy day to spend time with your family and other people. So, today, I want you guys to think about the things you used in your last meal to eat. What did you use when you ate? Did you use a spoon and fork? Did you use chopsticks? Did you have a drink? If so, did it get poured into a cup? Or did you have a can of soda? I want you guys to tell me and write down all the things that you guys used in your last meal. And it would be even better if you can remember having a formal meal with your family. And you can talk about how everybody was served during that meal. All right? So, write down 10 things about what your last meal looked like in regards to the silverware, the plateware, the cups. How were you served? Was it in a pan? Was it in a bowl? Talk about all that kind of stuff. And when you're done writing it down, share it with your classmates. All right, guys, that concludes part 2 of this 2-video lesson about table etiquette. So, we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye. Bye.